Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So tonight, we're going to talk about national security. We're going to talk about national security because John Bolton's former chief of staff, who I'm not going to name, penned an op-ed where he criticized John Bolton's decision to discuss this and write a tell-all. I don't understand the need for a former national security advisor to publish a tell-all book critical of a president he served, especially during a presidential re-election campaign that will determine the fate of the country. Well, let me start by saying I strongly disagree. That seems like the perfect time to write it. Contrary to what is believed in D.C., you're not rulers, you're employees. Your bosses, the American people, certainly have a right to know how you come to a decision, Chief of Staff. Now let's go to the national security aspect of this. Yeah, keeping secrets is a big part of it. A whole lot of it relates to keeping secrets. However, it's not the information that is kept secret for its own sake. If the U.S. discovers the ins and outs of an opposition country's aircraft, the details of that aircraft, well, that's kept secret. Why? Is it because we don't want people to know that we know? Well, that doesn't make sense. It's because we don't want people to know how we know. Means and methods. That's what matters. It would make more sense from a national security perspective as far as defense to disclose every detail we know about that aircraft. So all of our allies can then work on finding the weaknesses. But we don't really do that, do we? We keep it secret. Because however that information came to us is what's really important. That's what we're protecting. So, with that in mind, understand everybody knows the means and methods. The fact that the president seeks expert advice, to use your term, that's not a secret. But I would also differ with that. There is no defense expert that advised the president to withhold military aid from a frontline ally in the middle of a war to get political dirt on a domestic rival. That didn't happen. That did not occur. There is no defense expert that gave that advice. Keeping something secret for political purposes, that's antithetical to the idea of democracy. Now, let's go on to the idea that people in the Trump administration are concerned about national security. I differ with that as well. The entire record of the Trump administration suggests otherwise. From selling out the Kurds, to diverting funding from DOD to pay for that vanity wall that everybody says won't work, degrading military readiness, selling out indigenous allies, selling out key allies in Europe. None of this screams, I care about national security to me. It doesn't even make sense. The objection is hollow, almost like it's political. Now, I would like to point out that this quote, I don't understand the need for a former national security advisor to publish a tell-all critical of the president he served during an election because it might influence the election and all that. This was written in an op-ed at Fox News. I don't see the reason for a chief of staff to write a tell-all about the national security advisor he served in the middle of an election campaign on a partisan outlet. It's almost like that chief of staff is attempting to hand Fox News readers, I guess they exist, talking points because the truth hurts. Secrecy, the very word secrecy, is repugnant in a free and open society. John Bolton has information that the American people need to know. Whatever it is, let it come out and let the chips fall where they may come election time. The fact that this information is this concerning kind of shows that it was wrong, doesn't it? That if it could influence the election that much, then maybe it should. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good night.